Reactions continue to trail the rescheduling of the elections, but that notwithstanding, political parties and politicians continue their stratagem, perhaps with the cliché, no permanent friends or permanent enemies, but permanent interests. Will the campaigns continue to gain traction over the period of the extension? But at the moment, lots of people appear to have resigned to fate and coming to terms now with the new dates for the elections, hoping that there's no further shift. It'll be tough to bear, they say. Good evening. Welcome to Nigeria 2015. I'm Chamberlain Oso. Well, much as the electorate may be waiting for the next move of political parties, the tussle for who occupies Aso Rock will continue for a longer period now. And within that time, many may just look out for who will be the man of the campaign. Well, not even the court of public opinion is waning. They are awash with speculations, accusations, and counter-accusations of who did what, who will do what, and how. Our correspondents are on hand to bring us up to the minute on the events playing out at their location.
I am Joy Odina, standing by in Awka, the Anambra State capital, to give you update on some political development in the state.
I am Idris Jubrin, standing by to update you on the current political situation here in Kano.
Good evening and welcome to Owerri, the Imo State capital, Southeast Nigeria.
Well, what discussions are going on in the social media? Our web team will again provide you platforms for you to participate and get your voice heard on the program. You can tweet at us using the hashtag Nigeria 2015. Well, please use the Twitter handle you see on your screen. Well, if you have comments or questions, do send us an email, nigeria2015@channelstv.com. Well, joining us tonight, Mr. Joe Ibokwe is the Publicity Secretary of the APC in Lagos. And Tajuddin Agoro is the lawyer and the Director of Special Duties of Agbaje Campaign Organization. He's also of the He is of the PDP. Well, the non-violence message during the elections continue to reverberate. Let's take you through some of the talking points. It wasn't long ago where in Abuja that peace accord was signed, and then you had 12 political parties. Well, the two leading political parties were also there. Did sign that accord to ensure that they maintain peace. Let's take a look at it. We put all of what they agreed on, at least most of it, in this highlight, bullet points for you to see as a reminder to what they agreed on at that time in that meeting. Now, they agreed that they were going to embark on campaigns to ensure that to run issue-based campaigns at the national, state, and local government levels devoid of religious incitement and ethnic or tribal profiling. They agreed to refrain from making public statements, pronouncements, declarations, or speeches that have the capacity to incite any form of violence before, during, and after the elections. They also agreed to forcefully and publicly speak out against provocative utterances and oppose all acts of electoral violence, whether perpetrated by supporters and/or opponents. They agreed to commit themselves and their parties to the monitoring of the adherence to the accord, if necessary, and by a national peace committee made up of respected statesmen and women, traditional and religious leaders. Part of the agreement was also that all the institutions of government, including INEC and security agencies, must act and be seen to act with impartiality. Well, after that peace accord, there was a lot of talking points. People expected their supporters to have also internalized the messages being talked about there in Abuja. It wasn't just in Abuja, but back in Lagos, parties also met. As a matter of fact, one of the recent ones was when they met here in Lagos, the two leading political parties, the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party, came together. And yes, in this meeting, wherein you see religious leaders also present at that day. So they agreed Yes, we will tell our supporters to sheath their swords, conduct themselves decently, and ensure that they go about their campaigns in a manner befitting of a sane society. So we'll be highlighting this, and this was very symbolic, the handshake that all of them put together to ensure that, yes, let our supporters see, and let everyone, religious or otherwise, also see that they are well intended. So that much was done on that day. Now you see the signatures there. It was an accord too, which they signed, just like the ones that happened in Abuja. But we'll talk about this today in the course of the program. And all of these signatures, it was a demonstration of intent, as so many people did describe it. But we'll talk about that today, as we mentioned, and see how that is playing out in the polity today. But, you know, speaking about agreements and who is saying and doing what, well, we have recorded some violence in time past, and don't forget that that's what everyone is rallying around to see. That is, it becomes history, confined to the history books. You know, sometimes when we stand over and look at some of these figures, they want to leave it here in history pages. For instance, in 2011, it wasn't exactly a very nice scenario. It turns out that these are the states. You see in red, the states that were hit, hardly hit too, as it's come to be described by election violence, post-election violence. It runs through from Adamawa to Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Niger, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Yobe states. But ever since that time, it does appear as though a lot has changed. And so you also have some other states that are in white now have turned red, as a matter of fact, because red raising that flag saying some of those states are states that you have to watch out and be sure that security are on top of those, as they use that phraseology, to ensure that nothing goes awry. But then sad pictures also turned out at that time in 2011, which no one wants to see repeat itself again. So that's why millions at that time too were displaced. Millions also in Naira was affected. It went down the drain. But in 2015, almost everybody wants to see none of this happen this time. But a lot, they tell us, depend on the politicians, their supporters inclusive. But you know, all of this action already is raising concern, because what we're seeing in the field today is raising some concern. The permanent voter cards, you remember the distribution of the PVCs, the controversy surrounding the permanent voter cards. Now, INEC tells us, they released some statistics saying you have 1.1 million permanent voter cards stolen. And you ask why? Sometimes snatched from them. But we also did highlight some of those states where this actually happened. In Rivers, for instance, they record a high figure, astonishing, 14,000 stolen permanent voter cards, highest in the country. Not just Rivers, you have some other states too witnessing that same kind of scenario. Edo, for instance, according to INEC, they tell us about 4,658 permanent voter cards have been stolen, but then somehow 3,000 have been returned. Could it be that they checked or did something and returned 3,000? But that's with Edo State. What about Ebonyi State, guys? Ebonyi, 3,366 permanent voter cards stolen. And it just looks as though, are they copying? One state does one bad thing, another just sees it and picks up. And how do these things happen? But you know, afterwards, Ebonyi, so that's just those are some of the states affected with this. But it didn't stop there. Look at Anambra. Anambra, 6,000 stolen permanent voter cards. And then that's the local government that's involved in this kind of scenario. So, but you know, in spite of all of that has been said by INEC, let me show you the quotes that INEC spoke about this permanent voter cards. Not that if they steal them, it will be of any use to them, because they have consistently said anyone who steals the permanent voter cards cannot use them. So you may ask, so what's the point in stealing them? Well, the effort, INEC reminds everybody that, look, it's going to be an exercise in pure futility, because it is biometrically tailored to the owner, because it's got a fingerprint of whoever owns it. And then it is like carrying someone's debit card without the PIN number. So that's how useless it will be if they don't give you the PIN number. The thumbprint at this time on the PVCs is unique to each individual, INEC so says. But that wasn't all the INEC says about the futility of stealing the permanent voter cards. They also say that, well, the PVCs are useless without the proper card reader at the correct polling unit. No matter how much you steal it, INEC says that won't work. But it appears not many are convinced about all that has been said by INEC, because if they went ahead and carted away all of those permanent voter cards, what could be their intent? Or maybe they have another motive not to even use them. But you never know, really. But so much for all of those roundup. But we'll move over now and take a look at this main issue, which is in focus today. How do we ensure peace? What is happening? Because already in Lagos, parties are accusing themselves of one thing or the other. Let me step over to where our guests are today and talk about all of these matters. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program today.
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for having us.
Well, this matter about maintaining peace and ensuring that supporters also told the same line. It was only recently we did show that in Lagos, for instance, the two leading parties came together to ensure that, look, we're going to play free and square. Has it been the case, Mr. Bokwe?
Despite, small, little problems we see here, and they're not even little problems, some very bizarre ones for that matter. And I think if the two parties can call their supporters to order, we may have peace. You see, people must understand that this election must be won and lost, and if you keep to the letters of those agreements, it's no longer, there's no underdog in Nigeria. Nigeria as a whole, it's no longer, you don't have an underdog again. It's almost a neck-to-neck affair. If we believe in the ballot boxes, then we must stop this impunity that we're seeing all over the place. Impunity, somebody, a senatorial candidate, in Lagos West, must have the audacity and the temerity to move to your campaign office of another senatorial candidate and started shooting. Okay. And I thought it was a joke. He came out the next day and said he went there because the man, his supporters are removing his posters. Therefore, you have to take government and dogs to that office.
Mr. Agoro, what's your account of what's going on?
By my own estimation of what is going on, I think if we play by the rules, I want to appreciate what the U.S. ambassador has done by ensuring that the major players in Lagos politics, the two major parties, were called together with some leaders to ensure that they signed the peace accord. And I can assure you, with what is happening in Lagos, I believe that the party that people want in Lagos, which is my party, based on the personality that we have, which towers above any other personality, will definitely have the day. So we don't have any problem. We don't have any reason for violence in PDP, because our candidate is very clearly a sellable candidate. So why will we go for violence? It's only somebody that is on the defense that will go for violence.
Yeah, but Mr. Boko, you said that neck and neck. How come you...
He accepted. He accepted.
I said at the federal level. I didn't say there's no...
He has accepted.
I said at the federal level.
Thank God you made the statement.
I said at the...
You heard him when he said
Did you hear me?
When he said, we are from Lagos. Both of us here, we are from Lagos.
I know he's going to... No, I say he's going to say what he's saying. That's why I quickly told you that
Chamberlain,
especially
both of us, we are from Lagos. He's representing APC in Lagos. I am representing PDP in Lagos. And you agreed here now in your opening statement that yes, you have a very great challenge. Being government, sitting government. I don't see how a sitting government will go and be using red paint to paint the flex of another person. That is to tell you how weak they feel. They are so threatening. They are so threatening
all over Lagos. No, they are so threat.
They can't believe.
They can't go.
The heat is getting too much.
They can't go to campaign.
The heat they are getting.
They can't go to rallies. They say they are doing town hall meetings.
Did you see the rally of
they came to
PDP in Ikorodu?